Pleasant night. Humidity down from the last couple of days. Cloudy, cooler, but a good night for baseball after the rain of yesterday. And let's check the starting lineup for Tony La Russa and his Cardinals, who come in with a 2.5 game lead over the Reds, 19-11 in the division. The Reds are 16-13. For the Cardinals, Skip Schumacher will be leading it off. He came in from the outfield to second base this year. Colby Rasmus, the rookies, in center field. Albert, career versus Harang, over 300. He had an 0 for last night. First time this year he hadn't been on base by a hit or a walk. Brian Ludwig hits behind him. Chris Duncan in left. Yadi Molina, one of the best at controlling the running game. He'll hit behind Duncan. Khalil Green, over from San Diego last year, is the shortstop. Joe Thurston, another rookie in this lineup, hits 8th. And Kyle Loesch, who can swing the bat a little bit, will hit in the number 9 position. Speaking of 9, here's number 39, Aaron Harang.
Well, Aaron Harang celebrating a birthday. You always look for something special when you have your birthday and you get to pitch a ball game. He's had 6 starts on the year. He's got 1 complete game. That's a shutout. Coming off a very good game in his last outing. That was against the Florida Marlins. But, you know, when you play the St. Louis Cardinals and you've been around as long as Aaron Harang, there's not a lot of secrets. They know you. You know them. In fact, Albert Pujols has had 46 at-bats against Aaron Harang. So tonight's ball game is really about Harang executing his game plan, keeping the ball down, hitting the zones when he wants to. If he can do that, he'll pitch a good game like he usually does against his Cardinal team.
Last night, Pujols was 0 for 4 and thankfully never got up in the 9th inning. First time this year that he had not been on base. And after the game, he went back to going back to work. He went back to work looking at video with Chad Blair, the video consultant for the Cardinals. So he's retooled, and Chris, we saw him retool. There's a bouncer pass Phillips into right field for a base hit. So Schumacher, first pitch swinging, gets a base hit to right. The leadoff hitter is on. Let's check the Ford defensive alignment for the Reds. For Cincinnati, again without Joey Votto in the lineup, there's some changes. Lance Nixon left, Tavares in center, Bruce in right. Rosales is at third, Hairston is at short. Brandon Phillips back in the lineup. Ramon Hernandez over at first, and Aaron Harang being caught by Ryan Hannigan again tonight. That's your Ford defensive alignment. Here's Rasmus at 247, a homer, 6 knocked in, pretty good bunter. And with Tony La Russa, you know that he's always got something in mind. And, you know, Chris, we talk about Albert Pujols, who's sitting on deck. He, you know, whenever he has a bad day, it's almost like look out, because he goes back to work, reinvigorates himself. Boy, did he put on a show in batting practice today.
Well, Albert?
Yeah.
Oh, he was sitting back there where Mark McGwire would hit him if he was still around and in a uniform. I mean, when he wanted to hit him a long way, it's kind of like watching, I guess, Tiger Woods in the driving range. You get everybody else to hit, then you have Albert. Unbelievable.
So Harang from the stretch already, facing Rasmus for the first time. Shows bunt, gets it down. It'll be fair, and it will be not in time. It'll be a base hit for the number 2 hitter, Colby Rasmus.
Now, that's a base hit, but it certainly shouldn't be. I think that Ryan Hannigan simply underestimated the speed of Colby Rasmus running down the first baseline. A left-hander, he laid it down, and he got out of the box very quickly. But you've got to realize who's running. He went over there, and when he got to the ball is when he looked like he took his time. You've got to get a little extra zip in your step to get to the ball and be able to make this play. You should not have first and second here with nobody out. Clearly safe at first base.
Well, the good news for the Reds last night, Pujols came to the plate 4 times. There was never a runner on base. So already here in the first, Aaron Harang's got his work cut out for him. 2 on for Albert, who was the player of the month in April after he hit .337 with 8 homers, 28 knocked in. He's got 3 more homers here in May. He comes in at 11 and 32 against Harang in his career, 304 and 2 round trippers. Reds double play, depth, middle of the infield. Pujols digs in. And we've talked a lot about it, Chris. Johnny Cueto pitched about as well as you can against Albert Pujols last night, but there is no one way to pitch to this guy.
Well, you're right, and I think I was talking to Hal McRae about that, George, and he says, you know, sometimes Albert has a bad night, and he may not pick the ball up off of certain pitchers, and I think that was probably the case last night with Johnny Cueto.
Popped up in the infield. Infield fly rule call. Pujols will be retired. There's your first out of the inning, and now a double play can get Harang out of the inning. What Albert doesn't do, 8 years in the majors. Never hit less than .314, hit fewer than 32 homers, or had fewer than 103 runs batted in.
Or finished out of the top 10 in MVP voting. So those are the things that this guy can't do. Or hasn't done yet anyway. And thankfully for Cardinals fans, they've got him in the lineup. Boy, he is just a joy to watch. You talk about a true pro, and I'm sure the big sigh of relief right there after Aaron Harang got him to pop up with runners at first and second. Wow.
Native of the Dominican Republic. He's a great ambassador for the game, too. Not just in the St. Louis area, around this country, and in his home country as well. Here's Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig at .278, 7 homers, 24 knocked in. Speaking of a native, Ryan's mom and dad were both Cincinnati natives. He grew up as a youngster idolizing Eric Davis. He used to try to hit like Davis. There's a bloop to right. Here comes Bruce. Long run. He will not get there, but it's in foul territory. That just kept curving away, coming off the bat of a right-hander, slicing away from Bruce. Chris, there are a lot of people who tried to hit like Eric Davis when they were kids and couldn't do it. Man, what hands?
You know, the only time that most kids can do that is with a wiffle ball bat.
You're right.
The way he waved it, then had it down around his waist. And, you know, for a long time, big league pitchers thought they could throw that high fastball by him. He kept proving them wrong.
Pretty good numbers. .337 against the Reds. Against Harang, .286. Every young player, all of us, had somebody we idolized, and one of the highlights of his career, he said, was when he finally got to meet Eric Davis and had Eric sign a jersey for him, which he proudly displays in his home. No balls, 2 strikes. Harang trying to wriggle out of this first inning difficulty. Speaking of ED, 1987, he was something else. His manager, Pete Rose, and a guy, Chris, he was labeled the next Willie Mays. You can never call anybody the next Willie Mays, but he was darn good in his own right. The most electrifying player that a lot of folks saw during the peak of his years of performance. Also spent some time with the Cardinals, too. Not only a MVP caliber player, a comeback player of the year, too. And he's with the Reds again. Great to see him down in spring training. And heck, he can still run. He can still play. Doesn't he look
I'll tell you what, he looks as good in a uniform as anybody in that whole minor league camp. If he could only lie about his age, we could probably get him re-signed.
He said he could play one day. Getting up and going back the second day would be kind of tough. No balls, 2 strikes still. Setting up away. His hand again, down and away. And Ludwig's hanging tough, spoiling another one. A little bit later on tonight, we're going to visit with Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Reds now, the former general manager of the Cardinals. Spent 13 years with St. Louis and has retooled the Reds organization. We'll talk about the way the Reds have started this 2009 season and look ahead. Just missing, says John Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire. Hirschbeck, the crew chief, is behind the plate. Wally Bell's down at first. Artie Foster is your second base umpire. Marvin Hudson's your third base umpire. Got him. Took him 8 pitches, but he finally puts Ludwig away.
And nearly all of those 8 pitches were strikes. Only one of them was a ball, and that was the 0-2 pitch. It just missed outside. But Aaron Harang liked the idea so much, he and Ryan Hannigan run right back outside, dotted the I on the outside corner, and got a strikeout looking.
So now 2 away, and Harang's within 1 out of getting out of this. A leadoff single to right, a sacrifice bunt that was beat out for a base hit, put 2 on, nobody out, and here's Duncan. Chris at .284, 3 homers, 20 knocked in. Harang's handled him pretty good like that. He's pitched him in a lot. Duncan, big, strong outfielder. He gets those arms extended. He can hit the ball a long, long way.
Well, there just aren't that many right-handed pitchers that can consistently pitch left-handers inside for a strike without coming back and missing out over the plate.
Hannigan sets up, down and away. You look at Chris Duncan, and it'll remind you a lot as he sets up in the batter's box from the left side as opposed to the right side of Mark McGwire. And it's not odd because he's been tutored by McGwire for many years, both the mental side of the game and the physical side of it. And like Big Mac, a big burly guy with long legs and a big strong upper body. He's got a brother Shelley who's in the Yankee organization, who's been up and down the last few years. Shelley, there's Dave Duncan, the dad of the two players. Dunk, native of San Diego, 30 years in coaching, this year celebrating. What a brilliant pitching coach he is.
I'll tell you, George, I'm old enough to remember when Mark McGwire was that skinny.
Yeah. College years, he looked a little different, didn't he?
Way back when.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Duncan. Breaking ball just misses down and in.
When that locked him up too, you could see by the body reaction of Chris Duncan right there. He was ready for just about anything but a curveball right here. Locked him up immediately. He was ready to turn on a fastball when he recognized that as a curveball, and just missed off the plate.
2-2 and 2 away. He got him. What a bounce back from Aaron Harang. 2 on, nobody out. A pop up, a strikeout, a strikeout. Reds go to work. Taveras will lead it off. Joey's not in it, still battling the flu bug. He did take batting practice and infield practice today, though. Willie Taveras leads it off. Jerry Hairston Jr. bats second. He's at short. Jay Bruce third, and Brandon is back. Career against the Cardinals, 248 and 5 home runs. He's been out a couple of games with the flu. Lance Nix, Ramon Hernandez, he'll play first again. Adam Rosales at third. Hannigan and Harang. That's 1 through 9, your Reds batting order. And here's the former Red, Kyle Loesch.
Well, he's also a former Philly, a former Twin, and now he's a St. Louis Cardinal. He's having a pretty good run with the Cardinals as Kyle Loesch. 18 and 7 since he joined the Cardinals at the beginning of the 2008 season. And he signed a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract in the offseason.
4 years, $41 million, and he's the first to tell you I can thank Dave Duncan for that. There's a shot into the left field corner, but foul by Willie Taveras. There are times, Chris, when Kyle Loesch has looked brilliant. His time in Minnesota, some of his time here, and he'd be very erratic, but under the program of Dave Duncan, he's really got it rolling the last couple of years. Hit pretty good towards the alley. Over is Duncan. He can't get it. It kicks off his glove. Taveras will head into second, and in with a stand-up double is Willie Taveras.
Dave Duncan, or Chris Duncan, that is, the Cardinal left fielder, I'm not so sure that he's really ready for the kind of sunshine that hits you when you're playing left field here at Great American Ballpark at this time of night. Adam Dunn got a lot of grief for his defense, but at this time, it's not easy to pick the ball up off the bat. When the ball does get in the air, it goes into the sun. Duncan comes in there trying to make a diving catch and doesn't quite get to it in time. And with the speedy Taveras, he ends up on second base, so the Reds already have something cooking.
5th double for Taveras this year. He's in scoring position. Here's a bunt by Hairston, and the Reds are playing get him on, get him over, get him in baseball again. Last night they got a couple in the first to take the lead. They're trying to do the same here. Good bunt, good sacrifice by Jerry Hairston Jr. Runner at third, one out. Here's Jay Bruce. And here's your forward defensive alignment for the Redbirds. They committed an error last night. St. Louis and Cincinnati 14th and 15th in the league in defense. Duncan, Rasmus, Ludwig in the outfield. Joe Thurston, Khalil Green, Schumacher, and Pujols across the infield, and Yadi Molina behind the plate for Lowe's. That's your forward defensive alignment. So here's Bruce, and they'll keep the infield back on the right side. So a ground ball to the right side will give the Reds a lead. Jay was part of that rally in the first inning where he grounded out to move a runner to third, and it later paid off for the Reds. Productive outs sometimes just as important as base hits.
Yeah, there are a lot of people, George, that don't agree with the sacrifice bunt in the first inning. You're saying that if you do that, you're going to really thwart your ability perhaps to have a huge inning. But the Reds, with their kind of scratch and claw offense, will take a run wherever they can get it. And it's really imperative right here in this at bat that Jay Bruce put the ball in play somewhere. He's seen a fastball and a changeup and a fastball in that order in this at bat. He's yet to take the bat off his shoulder.
And both of them for strikes, 0-2. Now the infield comes in. Off the end of the bat.
Changeup, fastball, changeup. Well, not only does the infield come in, but oftentimes the outfield will also charge. Not in this case with a runner on third base, but if you've got a runner on second base, what Cardinal pitchers have done over the years is pound the bottom of the zone, and that enables the outfielders to kind of charge and maybe throw a guy out at the plate.
Just miss it inside, 1-2. Cardinals active moving their infielders. Chris Spire will direct the Reds infield. Joe Patini will direct the Cardinals infield. And they come to the edge of the grass again. That's a shot, but foul.
Well, he has not thrown two pitches at the same speed back to back. Changeup, fastball, changeup, fastball, changeup. Trying to get Jay Bruce velocitized. There's a changeup gripped right there. Kind of a Foch changeup.
1 ball, 2 strikes, infield, in again. And the dirt, good block by Molina.
The Foch is a changeup that is kind of a modified combination of a splitter that you hold between your middle finger and your ring finger, and a circle change where you sometimes kind of turn it over a little bit. The whole idea is just to have the same arm speed as a fastball and have it come out a lot slower.
Missing inside. Battling back is Bruce. It's a full count, 3-2. Jay against Loesch last year was 1 for 5 in their matchups. Against the Cardinals, he struggled at 196 in his 2 years of major league work. Deep to right. This will get the run in at the very least. Going back at the wall. It's going to be gone. Touch them all, JB. Cardinals bring the infield in, but you don't worry about it when you hit it that far. The Reds, for the second straight night, take a 2-run lead in the first.
A great at bat by Jay Bruce. Now, meanwhile, Kyle Loesch shook off 2 pitches. He shook off a changeup, shook off a fastball, wanted to go with his pitch, which was a slider, and that was Jay Bruce's pitch, too.
The team leading 9th home run for Bruce. And the Reds are on the board 2-0. A majestic fly ball that you knew would get the run in, and Chris, it just kept carrying.
Well, he finally went with that slider, George, and he put a real good swing on it. He had seen a lot of pitches in this at bat, and that's a tremendous at bat for Jay Bruce, because he got down 0-2 before he could blink an eye.
1 ball and a 1 strike to Brandon. So the Jaybird lets 1 fly, and the Reds lead at 2-0. That's now 9 homers and 19 knocked in on the season for Bruce. Home run leaders in the league. Albert Pujols led at the end of April and still leads now in this first week in May. Bruce with 9, tied with Adrian Gonzalez, Alfonso Soriano, second place in the league. By the way, in case you missed it last night for the Cubs, Aramis Ramirez diving for a ground ball down to third, dislocated his shoulder. He's going to be out for at least 4 to 6 weeks for the Cubs. That takes a big bat out of the lineup of Lou Piniella.
Bruce's home run traveled an estimated 411 feet, 411.
Another full count, 3-2 to Phillips. And there's ball 4. Now Tony La Russa has seen a lot of good from Kyle Loesch. His last 2 starts, last time out he lost the first game of the year for him. He struggled a bit last time out. Loesch went 4 1/3, 7 hits and 6 runs. His earned run average went from a little over 2 to 3.2, and he's starting off slow tonight too.
Yeah, well, in that ball game, he was hit on the left wrist, and he said the wrist was numb on him really the entire ball game, and he was out after 4 1/3 inning, his shortest by far of any ball game he started so far this year. But they depend on him to be somewhat of a stopper.
So Phillips is on. Here's Lance Nix in at 317. A homer on the season. Short lead for Brandon. There are the numbers. Pretty solid the start before. A no decision, and on April the 23rd the Cardinals put up a ton of runs and he got a 5-inning win. That's inside. Nick steps out, takes a look at Mark Berry down in the third base coach's box. He zips through some signs for him as usual for the Reds. Billy Hatcher down in the first base coach's box. Stolen 4 so far this year and been caught only once. By his own admission, still not feeling 100% before the game today, but he's back in the lineup. And he waves at it. And there's strikeout number 1 for Loesch. Out number 2.
A memo to all left-handers. Kyle Loesch really likes to use that changeup right off of his fastball, and it's exactly what he did in that at-bat with Lance Nix. You come in, you show him a good fastball, you come back with the same arm action, you take about 10 miles an hour off the pitch, and he'll get his strikeouts, a lot of them against left-handers in that sequence.
Here's Ramon. Great start for him at 282. A homer, 9 knocked in, 1 for 3 against Loesch in his career. A double, a sacrifice, and a homer by Bruce on a 3-2 pitch. And you bring up a great point, Chris, because last year, I mean, it was very clear that the success of Kyle Loesch had a lot to do with Dave Duncan's plan. And basically they told him at the beginning of the year, don't shake off Yadi Molina. And for most of the year, every time the Reds played the Cardinals, he very seldom shook off his catcher's call. And on the particular pitch you were talking about, he shook him off twice.
Yep. Well, sometimes a pitcher feels like, you know, he's got the feeling that I'm going to throw this pitch because, well, first of all, he hadn't thrown a slider in that at bat against Jay Bruce. And sometimes you just have that funny feeling, this is the one I'm going to go with. And the catcher usually lets you throw what you're going to throw. If you're thinking about a stolen base, not likely against the Cardinals at all. They lead the major leagues or at least the National League in the least number of stolen bases they've allowed, only 6. The Reds are about halfway up the National League ladder. They've given up 14 stolen bases overall, but they've allowed only 6 stolen bases as a team. That's a tribute to 2 things. One, Dave Duncan's pitching staff holds runners well and is quick. They're quick to the plate. But the other is that guy, Yadier Molina. Runs the pitching staff well, and he throws about as well as anybody you'll find.
He's thrown out 4 of 9 who tried to steal this year, and he's about 40% for his career. The Gold Glove winner of last year. And it's hard to imagine, but that was the first Gold Glove he won.
It is hard to imagine. You know, I think, George, half of that is because he was always a .250 hitter.
You're right.
Last year he hit .300, and all of a sudden he wins a Gold Glove. Go figure.
Yep.
That's the Rafael Palmeiro effect.
You're right. 3 balls, 1 strike. Phillips not going. That's low, ball 4. Second walk in the inning. And this may get Duncan out to talk to him. At the very least, it's going to get Molina out to talk to him. Duncan looked at Molina. Molina came out, and he'll try to settle him down a little bit.
Well, you have to like the way the Reds hitters, even though they're not home run hitters, they're maybe understaffed a little bit offensively, especially with Joey Votto not in the lineup. But you have to like the way that they're working the pitchers. They did it last night, and they're doing it again tonight against Kyle Oesch. I mean, you just can't be overly anxious up there hacking at the first thing you see when you see the other guys on your ball club getting success working them, just like Jay Bruce did. Worked an 0-2 count to a 3-2 count on the 8th pitch he launched.
That's what the first week or so of May has been for the Reds, after the Reds were 15th in the league in hitting after the month of April. They come in today all the way up to 11th in hitting. Still shy on the home run side of it, but they got a big one tonight to take a 2-0 lead. Here's Rosales in at 250. He takes a strike. The good news for Loesch is he's gotten ahead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batters in the inning. But after getting ahead 0-2 to Bruce, he went 3-2 and he homered. After getting ahead of Phillips, he went 3-2. Phillips walked, and now Hernandez walked, and here he is 0-2 again. Up in the infield, the second baseman under it. That'll do it. The Reds will strand a pair, but the important swing came from Jay Bruce, his 9th homer, and the Reds lead it 2-0 as we go to the second. Molina will lead it off. in spring training was playing better in the division, and the Reds are doing that. They're 13-8 in the division. Last year they were under 500 all year long, and these numbers tell you part of the story.
Well, George, you know, against the division, you can play each of these teams 17 or 18 times, and you can see that the winning percentage versus the Central last year against Houston, 200. The Cardinals, only 1 out of 3 they won, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who they matched up very well against, they were under 500. So, you know, the only team they were above 500 against was the Milwaukee Brewers. They play the Cubs about even, but this year you hope that Dusty Baker's crew can etch a little more wins inside their own division.
Yeah, and even against the Cardinals, the Reds were 4-5 against the Cardinals here at Great American Ballpark last year. So win number 1 is a good way to start it going for 2009. Here's Molina against the Reds in his career, over 300, 306, and 4 home runs. He'll be followed by Khalil Green and then Joe Thurston, the rookie. Molina is valuable. Chris mentioned that he hit 250 most of his career. He's valuable if he hits 250, but when you hit close to 300 as he did last year, he becomes even more of a force. One of the 3 catching Molina brothers.
Now, what he showed last night, George, is one reason why he's excelled much better as a hitter the last couple of years. He uses the entire field. Some guys like to hit it up the middle, but he'll take it even further than that. He'll go to the right side. Had both of his hits going the other way last night.
2 singles last night. He's already had a 12-game hitting streak this year. You know, and Chris, kind of reminds you too of Mike Matheny. When Matheny came over to the Cardinals, he changed his whole approach. He became a guy who would go to center and go to right, and he became a dangerous offensive force when he was always a good defensive catcher.
One of the best defensively.
So Harang's 3-2. Molina spoils another, and we'll try it again. 3-2. Molina 6 for 23 and 263 his average against Aaron Harang. There's another one to the right side, and this will be a base hit. So his 3rd hit of the series, the leadoff hitter on for the 2nd consecutive inning, and here's Khalil Green.
Well, the batting coach for the Cardinals, Hal McRae, likes to call it widening the field, and that's what Yadier Molina does. He's only had 5 hits this year to left field. Everything else, 25 of them now, have gone either to center field or to right. And that last swing that he takes right here, this one is just meant to go the other way. He does just that. Waits on the ball. The ball comes up a little bit, throws a little top hand, and picks up a leadoff base hit.
There's the former Red, the guy who was in his day the first premier designated hitter, and on those big Kansas City teams of the 80s, he was the leader. He and George Brett ran the clubhouse and performed on the field too. One of the best hitting instructors in the game, Hal McRae. And usually, Chris, when he comes to town, not this time, but usually he and the Mays, Lee May, get together. They always have a Reds reunion, and you know that's fun.
Well, there'll be some stories being told of that.
Some of them true, even. Harrison picks it, flips it, and they get the out at first. The runner advances to second. And don't forget, you can register now to run the Redlegs Run for Home 5K on Saturday, May the 30th. Race winds through downtown and finishes inside the ballpark. There's also a 1-mile run and a Gappers Fun Run for kids. Sign up now at Reds.com/5K or visit the Reds Community Fund booth at Great American Ballpark. So the runner in scoring position at second is Molina, who does not have a lot of speed. Here's Thurston facing Harang in the 8th spot. Kyle Loesch hits 9th, and not a bad hitting pitcher is Loesch. Thurston, one of 10 rookies already to be on this Cardinal roster in the first 6 weeks of the season, and one of 2 rookies in the lineup today. He and Rasmus each in the lineup. You know about Chris Carpenter, who's on the DL. He will throw tomorrow, soft toss on flat ground, and they hope that he'll be off the mound on Tuesday when they return to St. Louis. You know about Rick Ankiel, who's on the disabled list after that horrendous crash into the wall this past week. Troy Gloss also on the disabled list. So one after another, the Cardinals have had their veteran players go down.
I guess technically Joe Thurston is a rookie, George, but this is his 4th major league club in the major leagues. He first broke into the major leagues 7 years ago. Here you have an award. It's a Rookie of the Year award. He may win the Rookie of the Decade award. Cups of coffee 3 times with Los Angeles, 1 with a year with Philadelphia. Last year he had 8 at-bats in 4 games with the Red Sox. He gets my vote. You got a better candidate for Rookie of the Decade?
Jesse? He'll always be a rookie.
Rookie of the Century. Yep.
That's a call, strike 3.
Now there, Harang gets ahead of the hitters, and then he wants to put them away. This time he pulls a string on it and just goes right over the top with a little bit of a slider / curveball right there. Looked like he took a little bit off that breaking pitch. That's more of a, I'm not sure if it was a pure curveball or certainly wasn't a hard slider, but he got it right on the inside corner and not necessarily agreeing with it as Joe Thurston.
3rd strikeout for Harang, and here's Loach. He's in at 273. He'll swing the bat with authority. Dribble down to short. Hairston has it. And that'll do it. So a leadoff base hit, nothing to show for it. Reds hold on to a 2-0 lead. We're going to the bottom of 2. Harang due up second. Toyota.com, by JTM Food, Family, and Fun. That's JTM. And by Jeep. You talk, we listen. It's a new day. Have fun out there in your beep beep Jeep. And don't forget, when the Reds get it done with a run batted in this season, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. And so far, done tonight by Jay Bruce. Now that is a good looking hat. Here's Ryan Hannigan to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the second inning. First pitch swing into center field. Rasmus will track it down, and there's one away. And we're very happy to welcome to the Fox Sports Ohio broadcast booth Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Reds. Walt, this is like
good to see you.
I know you're rooting for the Reds, but you got two teams here. I mean, the Cardinals have had 10 players come up as rookies this year, 2 of them in the starting lineup. These are all guys that you drafted and you brought along.
Right. It's had a chance to see a lot of them on the field before the game during batting practice. It's nice to renew old acquaintances, but at 7-10, it's all Reds.
That's it.
No, it's it's natural. You have a strong relationship with a lot of those players and the staff and everybody, and you still keep your relationships, but we're in this is war now.
You're not kidding. There's a bouncer back to Loesch. Harang retired 2 away.
Well, I know that you've had a lot of special relationships with some of these current Cardinals, obviously being with them for so long, but recently, a week or so ago, when Rick Ankiel ran into the wall and you saw that video, what went through your mind?
Well, I was, I've got a real close relationship with Rick, and saw him play in high school. We drafted him and spent time with his family at his house, and when we signed him. So I had a really close relationship with him. So I did call Barry Weinberg, their trainer, that night to see how he was, because I happened to see the several replays of it. But it scared me. I think everybody was concerned that he may have damaged himself pretty bad, because he ran into the wall pretty good. But he's I guess he's going to be okay. He's on the disabled list now and will be out for a while. We're glad he's kind of not here, because he hits us pretty good.
He does pretty good against us. He had his debut against the Reds in St. Louis, I remember. It was outstanding. Home run, I believe. But we're glad he's going to be back after his stint on the disabled list. Here's Willie Taveras with 2 away here in the second. Taveras started it with a double in the first. Pleased after 6 weeks of baseball, the Reds have started off pretty well.
I am. We're still pretty much a young club, but and we're going to, because of that, I think we're going to continue to get better. And we've seen some good baseball. We've seen some really, really good pitching, and I think we've had a couple of little injuries, but nothing too bad. But I think it's a real testament to this club when you see that the guys are out this series and how well they're playing.
Walt Jocketty, the Reds general manager. Taveras lines out to short. We'll be back with more after these messages. Tickets, visit Reds.com/Hall of Fame. We continue to visit with Walt Jocketty, general manager of the Reds. And Walt, you talk about Reds history and Reds tradition. Nice to see 39,000 in the ballpark.
It's beautiful. This I saw fans lined up to come in and buying tickets, and it was great. And then you come in here to see him fill up the ballpark. It's a beautiful night. We got off to a nice start, and hopefully we can continue to play well the rest of the night and get them back tomorrow.
And a big rivalry here. You really got a clash of the Titans here, Walt, between Dusty Baker on one side and Tony La Russa on the other. I mean, they've been battling since the days that Dusty ran the Giants and Barry Bonds.
That's true.
Schumacher down the right field line, flanks off the screen in front of the bullpen, and he'll turn first, go to second, and he'll have a leadoff double here in the third inning.
And the competitive nature between those two guys, they haven't always been exactly in love with each other.
No,
but a little bit and show you what's happened.
Right. But you know, actually, yeah, there you go.
Randy Marsh trying to keep them separated.
You know, when Dusty took over in Chicago.
And that's all in the Central Division now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good piece of history.
Playing
right
for keeps.
Yeah, Dusty played for Tony in '86 in Oakland.
That's right.
So they go back a ways.
Here's Colby Rasmus, who sacrificed in the first but beat it out for a base hit. What made Tony La Russa such a great manager?
Well, I think it just his hard work, dedication. He spent made a lot of sacrifices in his life to concentrate on the game and making himself better and learning. He's still tries to learn from the best, whether it's another manager or a football coach or a basketball coach, whoever it is. He's always looking for an edge to make himself better, to make his team better.
And what impresses you the most about your manager, Dusty Baker?
A lot of the same similarities, I would say. I really enjoy working with Dusty. It's been great. He's and I tell you, I've known him as a player. So I was in Oakland when he played, and I've seen him as a manager on the other side. Now I've gotten to know him a little bit better, and he's a terrific guy. He's got a lot of interest in different areas, away from the game, and I call him the Renaissance man. He knows something about everything, and he's really very, very intelligent, and been very impressed with the way he handles his team and delegates to his staff, and the way they prepare, and that's why he's been successful. He's got a great way with the players that he knows when to pat them on the back and when to kick them in the butt, and it's tough to do.
Here's Albert, who popped up with 2 on in the first inning.
Well, explain to me how Albert Pujols was available in the 13th round.
It's a good question. I think part of it really, though, was the fact, Chris, that he was a junior college player in Kansas City, a small junior college. A lot of people went in to see him. He was a little heavy at the time, but he could always hit. And people ask us, how'd you wait till the 13th round? Well, it's amazing. But that's why the draft in this game of baseball is such an imperfect science. You just don't know. And here's a guy that has worked extremely hard to make himself one of the best players in the game today, and maybe will go down in history as one of the best of all time.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pujols against Harang here in the third, with the Reds leading at 2-0. We're visiting with Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Reds. Oh, didn't miss by much. Last night you watched Albert come up 4 times, never with anybody on base. Tonight, like different story. Yes.
Like that, yeah.
Harang wanted this. Just off the plate.
It looks like he's hitting the spot so far tonight.
Center field, right there is Taveras, and that kept sailing on him, and Willie will haul it in. That's the strength of Albert Pujols. Would look like a sinking line drive, just keeps on sailing, and Taveras hauls it in.
Well, it looks like he swings and hits this ball with one arm, and maybe he does, but that's what can fool you. With Albert Pujols, normally when a normal player hits a ball with one arm, you're going to come in and chase it on the run coming in. Not with Albert.
That's where your heart sinks down to your tummy right there. Well, very clearly.
Do this.
Very clearly.
I feel like I'll be like Ron Santo up here in a few minutes.
You'd be good at this. You'd like this. You know, if there's anything that has been the hallmark of the Reds so far this year, it's been your starting pitching. It has been superlative.
Yeah, in fact, that's what everyone from the other dugout said to me tonight. They said, "Well, you guys had some real strong starting pitching." And then, you know, everyone I talk to says the same thing. We're very fortunate. We can run a starter out there every night and know that we've got a chance to win, and that not everybody can say that, and that means a lot to a club, and especially a young club, when you know that you've got guys out there who can they're going to keep you in the game for most of the time and give our offense a chance to get started.
Ryan Ludwig, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, and Aaron was out this morning. He was dedicating a field for the Miracle League, and I was out this morning. It was a great opportunity for people to see, you know, Aaron Harang as a person, and with his wife and daughter, and his contribution to that field. And it's his birthday.
31st birthday today. Here's the footage that we showed you earlier of Aaron and Jen and the kids, and it was a special day, and he's a special man, isn't he?
He really is. He's a great person, and in addition to being a great pitcher, really cares about those kids.
And really, that's what the Castellini ownership group has tried to do once again here in Cincinnati, is get the Reds involved and the community involved in each other.
It's very important, and it's something we are really preaching to our players, to give back to the community. You know, they're very fortunate. They've got great skills, but they're very fortunate to play this game and to be where they are, and they understand it, and a lot of them are giving back quite a bit into charities and into the Reds Community Fund and things like that we feel are very important as an organization.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Harang trying to get Ludwig for the 2nd time with another runner in scoring position.
Well, while you're with the Cardinals, many times, or several times right at the trading deadline, they needed a piece to their puzzle, and you went out and made a trade at the very end to bring in a premier player or a big-time trade to help their ball club. If this Reds ball club is in the same situation towards a trading deadline, I guess the same thing will happen here at Cincinnati?
Absolutely. We're prepared to, and that's what we've got.
High in the air to left center field. Going back is Nix. That's going to be gone. 2nd row. This is a tie ball game. Ryan Ludwig picks up his 8th home run of the year, a 2-run shot that just kept carrying to left center. And we got a new ball game here in the 3rd.
Watching batting practice before the game, we knew that the ball was going to carry well tonight. You get a ball up to a big, strong guy like Ryan Ludwig. That had a lot of hang time, and right into the 1st row. Finally bounces about 3 rows deep, but that will tie this baby up.
He's made himself a pretty good ball player.
Sure has. And you look, they got some tough outs in this lineup.
This one the other way by Duncan at the warning track. Lance Nix will haul it in, but the damage done. A 2-out homer by Ryan Ludwig. Can you stay for one more half inning?
Sure.
We'll be back with Walt Jocketty after these messages. We're tied at 2. Akron Ballpark. Well, if a Reds player hits this Tundra or the Tundra sign during today's game, Kirby Tastad of Cincinnati will win it. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. We visit with Walt Jocketty, the Reds general manager. Jerry Harrison Jr. will lead it off as we go to the bottom of the third. He sacrificed successfully back in the first. There's one away. Well, when you look at this team, the pitching has been outstanding, and you knew in spring training, and you spent most of the winter looking for a big power right-handed bat. You couldn't come up with one.
Right.
Is that what you figure you need to complete this lineup?
I think if we had one more hitter in the lineup, it would help balance things out and take some of the pressure off some of the other guys. But that would be, if the one thing we'd add right now, that would probably be it.
Got to be happy with what this young man is doing. He's growing up day by day.
Yeah, he really is a good young man. He works very hard and watches a lot of film and talks to a lot of different the better players to find out what they do and works very hard, as does Joey Votto and all these other guys. They work very hard at their learning the game.
He was 0-2 in the first, worked it to 3-2, and then homer to give the Reds a 2-0 lead.
Well, so far, Walt, I'm sure it's been a very nice relationship between you and Dusty, but I'm sure that in the past with a manager, and it probably will be in the future, where you and Dusty may disagree on something. Have you disagreed on anything so far?
Not yet, but that does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony and I had disagreements on a lot of things, and a difference of opinion on certain things, but that's, it's part of the relationship you build with your manager. It's important for a manager and general manager to have a strong working relationship, because you really have to rely on each other to be successful. And to this point, we haven't been together long enough to have any major disagreements. But Tony and I had a few.
That's typically who wins those, the GM or the manager?
Usually the GM.
It's nice to be the king.
That's right.
Walt, have a great road trip, and congratulations to Joey. He'll graduate next week, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you.
Than strikeouts in 3 consecutive seasons. More homers than strikeouts in 3 consecutive seasons, and that is with a minimum of 40 home runs. A minimum of 40 home runs. As we talked about last night, Albert Pujols, one of those uncommon power hitters of this era. Every year he has more walks than strikeouts, and over the years those kind of hitters, Chris, have been the exception rather than the rule. The Joe DiMaggios, the Johnny Mizes, the Ted Kluszewskis. There haven't been many of them.
Yeah, that's a unique breed.
And, you know, the other side of the package is when you have that kind of ability and you have that kind of home run power. Back in the old days, it meant something. Today, people forget about strikeouts. They just think it's part of the equation.
They do in Cincinnati because they've got used to it.
You're everywhere. I remember talking to Ted Kluszewski's wife Eleanor once, and she was remarking about the players of today. And she's a great baseball fan, just a tremendous fan of the game, not just a great Reds fan, but a tremendous fan. And Eleanor said, boy, so when Ted used to play, it was you tried not to strike out. Now they only add up the homers. They forget about the strikeouts. Molina will take a walk. He's on again. He had 2 base hits yesterday. He's got a base hit and a walk here today. Leadoff hitter on for the Cardinals for the 4th consecutive inning. Here's Khalil Green, who bounced out first time up. His average at one time down to 188. He's starting to come around a bit, up to 237. Hit the ball hard 3 times last night and a couple of hits. They really need him to offensively be the kind of player he can be.
Well, he can be some kind of a great offensive player. Has a lot of pop if he hits a sweet spot, and a guy that will jump all over a high fastball.
Adam Rosales almost had his glove torn off his hand. Great catch by Rosales.
Boy, Green just tomahawks this ball up around his eyes. You talk about throwing the bat head. He gets a little line drive that begins to sink. Rosales is right there.
Probably a ball, huh? Kept the top hand over, and Rosales makes a great catch.
Little League and Knot Field Stay were filled with coaches saying, don't swing at that high pitch.
How'd you guys make out today?
Not too well. Took it on the chin. The Stars will be back, though.
Saturday game, no Mother's Day games, right?
You're right about that one.
Here's Joe Thurston, struck out looking first time up. Thurston didn't like the call, shaking his head as he's in an 0-2 hole. Two away. Thurston strikes out for the 2nd time. That's the 5th strikeout for Harang. 2 away, and here comes Loesch. And the best sports show period, the greatest nightly sports show on TV, comes your way weeknights right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Chris Rose, Carissa Thompson, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Join us for the best sports show period. Now, Chris, you asked a great question about a general manager-manager relationship, and I know in talking to Tony La Russa, the one thing he always said about Walt Jocketty, he said whenever we had a disagreement, when the meeting was over, we turned the page and it was over. And you really have to have that kind of a relationship to make it work. We're tied at 2, going to the bottom of 4. the Brewers 2 games back in our Honda Central Division standings. Big difference from a year ago. The Reds are 5 games over 500 against the Central. Last year they were under 500 all season long. Cardinals were over 500 all season long, and they're 10-6 this year. Here's Lance Nix. Nix, Hernandez, and Rosales 5, 6, and 7 for Cincinnati. On the scoreboard, Mets won 10-1 over the Pirates today. John Mayne the winner. Atlanta beat Philadelphia 6-2. Vasquez won there. And the Dodgers won over the Giants, the final 8-0. Tonight in the first, Washington and Arizona scoreless. San Diego and Houston in the 5th scoreless. Milwaukee leads Chicago 3-0. They're in the 4th, and Florida and Colorado are scoreless in the 1st. Your National League scoreboard update. Two balls, 2 strikes. Off the plate to the right side. Loesch double dribbles it, and he holds on to get the out. He finally picked it up about a foot in front of the bag, got it in his bare hand, and tapped the bag before Nix got to it.
Now the ball hits high right off the plate right there, and Kyle Loesch does the right thing. He's got to be over there first. He kind of knocks it off his shin, and a little mini collision down there at first base. Lance Nix really could have hammered him, but he took it kind of easy on him.
That's like a brick wall. Number 17 is like.
I'll tell you what, he is built like a linebacker.
Well, Loesch takes a tumble, and out comes Barry Weinberg to check on him, the trainer for the Cardinals. Saw him grab that left wrist. That's the wrist you were talking about, Chris, that he was nailed on in his last start, and it looked like he rolled over on it again here.
How they come out, George, you know, because pitchers, especially starting pitchers, they're a lot more like thoroughbreds than they are Clydesdales.
Wait a minute.
You gotta be careful now.
Starters are thoroughbreds. Now, you could represent starters or relievers.
Well, I was more of a star. I always wanted to be a starter anyway. And
in your mind,
relievers are they're the everyday workhorses.
Yep. So they're the thoroughbreds geared up for the Kentucky Derby.
There's a place for them on the farm too. Those everyday workhorses.
That's right. You don't win without both, do you?
You're right about that.
One away. Here's Ramon. Hernandez walked back in the 1st. The Reds got 2 in the 1st. Could have been bigger. They had a double, a sacrifice, and a homer by Bruce to lead 2-0, and then Phillips and Ramon Hernandez walked, but Loesch was able to strike out Nix and get Rosales to pop up. And we talked all spring about how important the first 2 months of the year were for the Reds for a lot of reasons. First, to believe in themselves, a younger team, but as Walt Jocketty alluded to, if this team stays in it and there is a need for something later on, and he alluded to the possible addition of a bat, they're prepared to do that.
Well, I can tell you one thing, George, with the comments that Bob Castellini has made along the way about getting this team not only in competitive nature but in contention. I think that that's one reason why Walt Jocketty is in the position that he's in, because of what he has done in the past in St. Louis, and they've got full confidence that if they need somebody to pull the trigger on a trade at the deadline to bring in a missing piece, he's the guy to be able to do that.
Those teams that start well would not be sellers. Those teams that start poor might very well be sellers by the time we get to July. There's Adam Rosales, who popped up first time up. 2 away here in the 4th. Right past Schumacher into right. Rosales takes a big turn. He'll hold it first. Time for our Aflac trivia answer for tonight. The question: who is the only player in Major League history with more home runs than strikeouts in 3 consecutive seasons? Could it be Albert Pujols, who's in the Cardinals uniform tonight? Might it be Big Clue? 53, 54, 55. Johnny Mize did it for 2 years, and Joe DiMaggio, Joe D did it. And by the way, we want to send our condolences out to the DiMaggio family. Dom DiMaggio passed away this week. What a brilliant outfielder he was. No one was ever quite as good as his brother, but he was outstanding. And the Big Clue, 53, 40 homers, only 34 strikeouts, 54, 49, 55, 47, and fewer strikeouts than homers. I mean, that's off the chart when you add it up to this day and age.
Incredible.
This season for Albert, 11 home runs, only 10 strikeouts.
He is cutting down on his strikeouts, so year after year you'll see that dropping like your 401k.
Not quite that fast, though. There goes Rosales. It's slap foul. They're scoring that ground ball that got by the second baseman, a base hit. So Rosales gets a hit. He's 1 for 2. By his own admission, Skip Schumacher's a work in progress down at second. He didn't find out until about a week before spring training that they were going to try to make the switch from the outfield to second base for him. And you talk to Joe Patini and Jose Aquindo, the 2 infield instructors, and they said he's tireless in the way he's tried to work to become the best second baseman he could be. The feeling was to get some offense from the outfield and also leave another outfield spot open for more offense among those outfielders they had.
I mean, you're fighting for your major league life. I mean, they look at an outfielder, unless you're a center fielder, they look at those corner spots as somebody who's going to hit the ball a long way. So if you're Skip Schumacher, unless you're tremendous as a leadoff hitter, I mean, lights out, Ricky Henderson type, and they ask you to find another position, you best come out here early every day and do it.
There's Aquindo, who is a Winter League manager in Puerto Rico, the WBC World Baseball Classic manager for the Puerto Rican team.
Schumacher had never played any infield position throughout the minor leagues. He had played some in college and played some in high school, but that's quite a transition to make.
No balls, 2 strikes, pitch out, nothing going.
That's like asking Joey Votto to go back behind the plate, drafted as a catcher, but, you know, they say, hey, Joey, we got another first baseman coming up. How about putting on the catcher's equipment?
We've talked a lot about it the last couple of days. The Reds and Cardinals both near the bottom of fielding numbers for the first 6 weeks of the season. And sooner or later that catches up to you. He holds on. We talked to Tony La Russa last night about a couple of the plays. Number one, the play where Cueto stole second. And he didn't get credit with stolen base. It was a continuation play. And after the game was over, they talked to Schumacher about it. But they also, and Chris, we looked at it, yes, sure, Schumacher should have gotten there, but I would blame the center fielder just as much. In a play like that, the center fielder's job is to find a way to come in and cover second. There goes Rosales. Here comes the throw, and he's going to be out. Well, they don't send the runner on the pitch up. They do on the next play, and Molina nails his 5th out of 10 this year.
He's as good as they get, George. He had a good pitch to throw him out onto, a high fastball right there, almost like a modified pitch out. Look at him get up on his haunches, ready to go. There's Hannigan. That was a key throw him out last night.
And again, talking about Tony La Russa, we asked him today if, in fact, Thurston, just to reset the story for you, Thurston had walked in the 9th inning. He was on first. With 1 out, Schumacher, the leadoff hitter, was on. Rasmus and then Pujols would have been up. And Thurston was off and running on that play. Hannigan threw him out. It was a perfect pitch, a fastball. It was up, and he threw him out. An outstanding play. But we asked him, was he actually running? Did he get the steal sign? He said yes. We wondered, did he miss a sign or whatever? But he said yes, he did have the steal sign. And that was, of course, part of the equation so that Albert never came up in the 9th. Thank you.
He can get a little testy sometimes with reporters asking him those questions.
Well,
maybe not with George Grant, but how come you never ask me those questions when the guy's safe?
Yeah, I think, Chris, you and I have found it. If people understand that you care about the game and understand the game, and you're genuine in asking your questions, they'll usually answer and discuss it with you. It's the people who never come down to the clubhouse, the ones who
have an agenda.
Yeah. I mean, there's no smarter manager in the game today than Tony La Russa. And over the years, I mean, we've all learned from great managers. I mean, managers that you played for, managers that you observed. That's up high. But that's one of the tough things about managing today. I mean, make no mistake about it, with, you know, internet, radio, TV, everyone's questioning every move you make. There's a blue pin to left. Nix is there. Schumacher's retired, 1 away. But it goes with the job. If you talk to most managers, they say baseball is probably 20% of the job. It's dealing with the media, dealing with the players, dealing with the front office and marketing and everything else you have to deal with. And there's baseball, about 20% of it when everything is said and done.
And you play so many games, and when it comes right down to the last game of the season, you get a win or a loss, or you're ousted by a half a game or a game, that everything you do out of 162 is magnified.
There's Colby Rasmus. He was one of those players that Walt Jocketty drafted, and he's finally made it to the major leagues. A bright young prospect. Reached on a bunt hit and struck out.
Well, he's only 22 years old, Rasmus is, and that's really when an organization would love to get their top prospects in the major leagues. And if you can get up here and begin to adjust a big league lifestyle, pitching, the way you play the game, the number of games, the travel, all the things that go along with being in the big leagues, if you can get that great player up early on, I mean, you've got such an advantage. I mean, all those Hall of Famers that have put up just monstrous numbers throughout their career, you look at when they started. Most of them started very young.
High in the air to right center. Here comes Bruce. He'll take charge. He's got it. 2 away. And here comes Albert with no one on. He popped up, lined out 0 for 2. So 0 for 6 in the series thus far. Last night was the first night all season where he didn't reach base by a hit or a walk at all. And he kind of joked down in the clubhouse today. He said, my hitting coach told me I got to rework my swing, so let's go. He grabbed Hal McRae and they went into the cage. Don't have to rework it. Just a matter of time. The Reds were blessed in the 70s with the Big Red Machine era and a host of players who were the face of their franchise. Leaders on the field by the way they played and the way they handled themselves off the field too.
Well, what a pleasure it must be to catch Aaron Harang tonight. I mean, Ryan Hannigan is moving the ball around, moving the glove around, and Harang's just hitting it.
Raleigh Bell saying, he didn't go. 2-2.
Just off the plate, exactly where you want to throw it. A 1-2 count, so you're ahead of the hitter. Don't give him anything good to hit, but make it a teaser type of a pitch, and that is as good as you can get right there.
Going back to the same spot, and he got him to wave at him. Well, Harang has taken care of Albert 3 times. Pujols 0 for 7 in the series so far. Hannigan will lead it off to this 2-2 ball game. Reach.com Family Day. When one family member purchases a full price ticket, the entire family gets non-premium tickets at half price. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Offer valid in advance of game day only. There's Ryan Hannigan to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Harang to follow, then the top of the order, Taveras. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Reds. Reds runs, a 2-run homer in the first. Taveras doubled, sacrificed to third by Harrison, and then Jay Bruce went 0-2 against that guy Kyle Loesch. Battled him back 3-2 and then hammered a homer 411 feet into the right field seats. The Cardinal runs likewise via the long ball. A double by Skip Schumacher, and Ryan Ludwig's 8th homer of the season tied it at 2 in the third. Center field. Over is Rasmus. So is Duncan. Who's going to take charge? Duncan will. 1 away. Here comes Harang. Hey, become a fan of Fox Sports Ohio on Facebook. www.facebook.com. Keyword Fox Sports Ohio. Here's Harang. Bounce back to the pitcher in the second. We knew it would be a big crowd tonight, Chris. In fact, it is a sellout crowd tonight.
That would make it the second of the season. They sold out, obviously, on opening day. Reds get a sellout tonight. All you needed was good weather and a first-place ball club coming into town and create a little bit of excitement by running the pitchers that the Reds have been running out there, and they're keeping them in ball games. This is an exciting team to watch if you like pitching, especially.
Back to the top of the order, Willie Taveras. He doubled and scored on the homer by Bruce in the first, and he lined out to short second time up. Reds will wrap up this series tomorrow. Edinson Volquez against Adam Wainwright. Two more outstanding pitchers. Volquez will try for his 5th win. Wainwright will try for his 4th. We'll be on the air with Reds Live at 12:30. Then it's off to the West Coast. Arizona and San Diego. Roche gets it there in time. Taveras trying to bunt his way on. Loesch just nips him at first. So we head into the 6th. Ludwig will lead it off. We're still tied at 2. Struck out his first time up. First time up, he had an 8-pitch at bat, and with 2 strikes, he fouled off 4 pitches. And again, with a 3-2 count in the 3rd, he fouled one off, and then finally got one he could drive, and he drove 392 feet worth of homer to left center field.
I mean, 2 of the best power hitters on the Cardinals. This is how they got him. Number 1, they got Albert Pujols in the 13th round of the amateur draft, if you can believe that. Walt talked about that when he was up here. Then they signed Ryan Ludwig as a minor league free agent. Here's a guy that was released by the Cleveland Indians. He was pondering going over and playing ball in Japan because he really couldn't find a big league job anywhere. So the Cardinals finally gave him a look-see in spring training, and here he is in the middle of the lineup batting behind Albert Pujols.
Fly ball to right. Bruce is there. Ludwig retired, 1 away. Originally drafted in '99 by Oakland. He's finally found a home in St. Louis.
And he's had his share of injuries. We were talking last night, George. He's had major hip surgery where he's had a 6-inch rod placed in his hip bone. He's got a 4-inch titanium pin in his wrist. This guy's got a titanium bone in his neck.
Missed a big chunk of last year with a couple of injuries. He's had groin trouble and back surgery. Ludwig also has had a couple of knee surgeries to go along with all that. So he's paid his dues to finally get to the majors. Duncan 0 for 2, a strikeout and a fly ball out. Ball and a strike. And we marvel when we watch our kids, whether it's our sons or daughters playing softball or baseball or soccer or football. Imagine what goes through Dave Duncan's mind to watch two sons at the major league level, and he gets to watch one of them on an everyday basis. Similar to what Hal McRae did when his son Brian played for him at Kansas City. That's a bouncer that'll go through on the right side. Well, here's Aaron Harang with 1 out, 1 on in the 6th, and we've talked often about his run support, usually on the slow side, and the National League average run support the last 2 years. Randy Johnson at 1.71, Johan Santana at 2.27, Barry Zito, and then Aaron Harang. Sometimes you pitch on the wrong day, huh?
Well, that's really what it's all about. You know, getting back to that, the comments about Dave Duncan being able to watch his son Chris play, and then of course he's got another son as a major leaguer. I don't know about you, but I've always noticed that. I thought my dad coached, and I always thought he was harder on me than he was on the rest of the team. And I know that I'm harder on my sons when I coach them than the other coaches are. And that's, I wonder if it carries on over here in the major leagues too. It probably does.
For Hal McRae it did. Hal said he never could enjoy it when Brian played for him in Kansas City because he was an everyday player. For Dunk, I think it's a little different because he's a pitching coach, so he doesn't really ride herd over his son. You know, when Ken Griffey Sr. played on the same team with Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle, that was a special feeling.
I bet he does ride herd on him.
Duncan, part of that great group of fine athletes that came out of San Diego. Bob Boone, of course, speaking of guys who had sons who played. I mean, his dad was a major leaguer. He was a major leaguer. Brett and Aaron played in the major leagues. He came from San Diego around the same time that Dave Duncan came through San Diego youth baseball. 1 ball, no strikes to Molina, who's been on base twice, singled on a 3-2 pitch and walked. Some managers almost always go by the quote-unquote book. Tony La Russa, as you saw last night, giving Thurston the steal sign of the ninth, hardly ever goes by the book. I mean, he'll do things different just so that you won't think he'll go by the book. So the next time around, you won't have any idea what he'll do. And very often his teams 3-0 will swing on a regular basis. And probably percentage-wise, if you got the right hitter up there and you know you're going to get a fastball, it's probably a good decision. And when you've won 2,480 games, it's usually worked more than it hasn't. 3rd all-time on the win list for managers. Looped into right. Here comes Bruce. He got it. He got it. And you know what he's going to do? He'll flip to first for a double play. Another beauty from Bruce. Defense, boy, does it make a difference, especially in a 2-2 game. Jay Bruce, a great catch. They'll double up Duncan. Inning over. so good for Reds pitchers. Albert Pujols 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 2, and Aaron Harang strikes him out on that darting slider in the dirt, Chris.
I'll tell you what, he threw that back-to-back. He just missed with the pitch before, and he came right back with it again and threw it down the dirt, and that time Albert Pujols chased it. Pujols probably more angry with himself for getting himself out on that pitch. I'm a believer that you really don't get Albert Pujols out. He gets himself out. You just give him a better chance or a better opportunity to get himself out with a quality pitch.
Our Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Jerry Hairston Jr. sacrifice and a fly ball to right. Right center sinking. It'll drop for a hit. So the leadoff hitter on for the Reds. For only the second time tonight. Let's take one more look at a great catch by Jay Bruce as he comes to the plate, Chris.
Well, you know, George, I had an American League scout call me last week, and we're talking about some players, and he said, all right, in your opinion, tell me about Jay Bruce. Is he an average fielder or an above average fielder? I say he's clearly an above average right fielder. And maybe we'll just take a little clip of that right there and send it to him because that is a superlative play. And when you get a really tight ball game like we're in right now, you need plays like that. Aaron Harang, you know, that picked him up, probably gave him a huge second win to know that his outfielder's out there willing to lay out, make a catch like that, turn it into a double play, and it helps your attitude. I mean, everything gets better when your guys play like that.
Strike one. He swings and misses at the changeup. Down at first is Hairston. Bruce the homer, and he struck out looking second time up. And if you talk to Jay Bruce, I mean, we go down to the clubhouse when the game is over and he hits a home run, you say congratulations, but his eyes light up when you congratulate him for a great defensive play or a great throw. I mean, last night when the game was over, the catch that he almost made down the right field line. Remember, he got a base hit that knocked in the 6th run in the 7th inning, but that catch against the wall, he said, oh, I thought I had that. And the good ball players take just as much pride in their defense as they do in their offense. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bruce. First inning, 3-2 pitch. Here it was, Chris.
Now they got a little bit of a slider down and in, and that's a wheelhouse for most left-handed hitters, and it is that for Jay Bruce, and he put the Reds up by 2 with that swat.
One and two. Ball game. The Reds have been running more this year. Tony La Russa not taking any chances, trying to keep Harrison as close as he can and keep the double play in order. Runner not going. Swing and a miss. He got it. Been his most effective pitch tonight, huh?
Well, you know, it's not going to be the repeat of throwing him a slider down and in. This time Kyle Lohse goes with his changeup, and you see the changeup grip. He turns it over. It's got great spin action and rotation action. Kind of goes away from a left-hander, somewhat like a screwball, and that's a dandy pitch.
So Harrison still down at first. Now 1 out, and here's Brandon Phillips. He walked in the first and bounced to short to end the 3rd.
Well, Kyle Lohse, you know, we had him with the Reds here, and in 2006 and 2007 he pitched for the Twins, the Reds, and the Phillies. He had 68 starts altogether. and he was 14 and 22, so he was well under 500.
That's a fair ball into the corner. Harrison rounds second. He's heading to third. Phillips rounds first. He'll be at second. The Reds will have second and third with one out. Brandon's back. That's a 7-game hitting streak for Phillips.
Well, he jumps on a hanging breaking ball right there. Kyle Lohse is probably ready to put that on the shelf, that slider, because the two hardest hit balls of the night that the Reds have had, the home run by Bruce was a hanging slider. That was a hanging slider by Brandon Phillips, laced down the left field line. 4 of them on the year for Brandon. But going back to Kyle Lohse, you know, when he was with the Reds, he was about even. He had about his same number of ground balls as he did fly balls. But then he went over to the Cardinals in 2008 and 2009. He's had 37 starts. He is 18 and 7, but he's increased his ground ball percentage from about even to about 1.5 ground balls for every fly ball, and that has made him a much better pitcher, more efficient on the mound, get more ground balls, and obviously turn more double plays.
That's a shot into right. 1 run will score. Here comes Phillips around third. They'll hold him there. A bullet base hit from Lance Nix. He gets his 6th run batted in, and the Reds have taken the lead 3-2.
Well, Lance Nix has not looked particularly good tonight against Lohse. So he goes up there ready to swing at the first pitch, and he does. He gets a low either changeup or a sinker that he took a little bit of action, or took some speed off of, and he went right down there to get that bad boy and drive it into right field. Look at that pitch. Actually down and out of the strike zone, down below the knee.
Great plate coverage, a good swing, and the Reds have the lead back here in the 6th inning. Phillips froze because he had to make sure the ball wasn't going to be caught by the second baseman in the air, or else he would have scored. So Mark Berry held him up, and wisely so, at third. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And here's Ramon. He walked and struck out. Looped into right, sink in, it will drop. Here comes Phillips. Here comes the throw, going to be way wide, and the Reds lead it 4-2. Well, Ramon can stretch his hit streak 2-7. 7 straight games he's hit in, and he delivers another run. The Reds lead it 4-2.
Boy, the advantage of being able to put the ball in play as opposed to striking out. Anything can happen, even if you get it in on the hands a little bit. And you just flare it out there in the right field, you never know. Most right fielders aren't the fleetest of foot and don't cover a lot of ground. And Ramon Hernandez is finding that out. He's going out there a lot, and he picks up a key run batted in.
So the Reds, with 4 hits in the inning, 3 singles and a double, will force the Cardinals to get somebody up in the bullpen. They now lead it 4-2. Here's Rosales. He's 1 for 2, single to left last time up. They're starting to stretch down in the Cardinal bullpen. No one as yet has started to throw. Left field, curve in, it is foul. Boy, did he hop on that one.
Just a little bit out in front was Adam on that one. Hit it hard. Boy, it sounded great, but he hit it so hard it just hooks foul. Now he's looking at an 0-2 count.
Still only 1 out. The Reds have 1st and 2nd. And here's the 0-2 to Rosales. Pujols knocks it down. They'll get 1. The return to first, not going to be in time. It'll be 1st and 3rd.
Well, what a nice play by Albert Pujols. He works on his defense. We've seen him for years, George, getting out there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Nice backhanded stab and immediately gets rid of it. Now, Khalil Green really can't come across the back throwing hard because Kyle Lohse is late getting over there. He kind of hesitate a little bit. Maybe he thought that ball was going through when it was hit by Rosales and didn't realize that Pujols would be there. That one hesitation by Loesch cost him a double play, and Reds still have a chance to put one on the board.
Watch Albert. He had just moved over about a half a step, and he flags this down. They'll get one at second. Rosales, never hesitating, beats the throw to first.
I mean, it's amazing that Pujols put himself in that position, because he was way off of first base right there. I mean, to defend a right-handed hitter who just pulled the ball foul down the left field line and move over a little bit like that, he moves with the pitch.
There are numbers, statistics, and there's a baseball sense. Here's Hannigan, 0 for 2. Rosales was tossed out trying to steal in the fourth. The Reds have put 2 on the board here, lead it 4-2. And Loesch and Harang now even Steven with 88 deliveries so far tonight.
8s are wild.
Great 8s for the Reds as they lead by 2.
Hey, Reds fans, for great tasting quality meal for your family, pick up a bag of JTM beef or chicken Philly cheesesteaks from your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, fun.
This inning's been more like the Reds' rallies of late. 3 singles and a double, 2 runs in. Setting up away, Molina. That's way wide. 2-1. Staying out there, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. The wave starting here at Great American Ballpark.
Oh, the sellout, you might call it a tidal wave.
That's ball 4, and they're loaded for Aaron Harang. Tonight bounced back to the pitcher and popped out to first.
Now this is where Aaron really ought to be ready to get up there and swing the bat on the first pitch. A pitcher's best shot at making good contact is that first fastball that he sees. And it may not be a fastball.
That's a base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Rosales around third. The throw to the plate not in time. Aaron Harang delivers. He gets his first hit of the season. He knocks in 2. That's a birthday present, and the Reds now lead it 6-2.
Nothing sweeter than a 2-out ribeye. He gets a first pitch hanging slider, does Aaron Harang, and he laces it hard in that hole between third base and shortstop and drives in 2. There's some bragging rights right there.
Rosales showing some energy, and a standing ovation for Harang down at first base as Duncan comes out to talk to his righty. Now they're starting to throw in the bullpen. That's an early birthday present on this day for Aaron Harang, who turned 31 and delivered his first hit of the season, and the Reds lead it 6-2. Quite a day for that young man. Turned 31 today. Dedicated a brand new field on the west side. We'll show you a video of that again a little bit later on. And right now, Tony La Russa looking at a frowning side of the scoreboard as the Reds lead at 6-2. Former Cincinnati Red Dennis Reyes is up and loosening the left-hander in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Here's Taveras. He doubled and scored in the first, lined out, trying to bunt his way on, and Loesch threw him out in the 5th. That's a base hit. Rounding third, coming home will be Hannigan. Harang's going to go to third, and he'll be a dead duck. But the damage done, Aaron Harang delivers. He got the hit the Reds needed. They've built up a 4-run lead, 6-2, and he's getting an ovation as he heads to the dugout. And we go to inning number 7. Delivery by Loesch, and a 2-run home run from Jay Bruce, his 9th of the year. The Reds led it 2-0. That was in the first. Then Ryan Ludwig gets his 8th home run of the year. That was in the third, a 2-run shot, and we were tied at 2-2. Meanwhile, Aaron Harang controlling things with the Redbirds. Albert Pujols 0 for 7, including this strikeout in the series thus far. And then the Reds did some business. Lance Nick's base hit in the 6th inning gives the Reds a 3-2 lead. Ramon Hernandez followed with a base hit of his own to right. That makes it 4-2. And after a walk to Hannigan, guess who chimed in? The pitcher, Aaron Harang, drills this one into left. It's 6-2. The Reds add another run. They lead it 7-2. Your Chrysler game summary. So far, so good on this sellout crowd night at Great American Ballpark. There's Khalil Green. Lined out, ground out, 0 for 2. They're starting a chant down behind the dugout. Happy birthday to you, to Aaron Harang.
If they flash it up on the scoreboard, he'd be serenaded by 42,000 plus. They want to let him get his work done first.
Top of 7. The Reds 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors, 3 left. The Cardinals 2-6-0 and 4 left on base. Left center, that'll drop in for a hit in front of Taveras. So Green has his first hit. Leadoff hitter on in the 7th, and here comes Joe Thurston. Misses up high 1-0. On the American League scoreboard, Tampa Bay beat Boston 14-5. Toronto over Oakland 6-4. Tonight, Detroit leads the Indians 2-0. They're in the 7th. Kansas City and Anaheim scoreless in the 1st. Baltimore 11 and the Yankees 5. They're now in the 6th. In the 7th, White Sox and Texas tied 2-2. And Minnesota leads Seattle 9-5. They're in the 6th. Everybody talks about velocity, but location and movement higher on the list for most pitching coaches, and that's exactly what Harang's had tonight.
Commanding your fastball, George, is really what it's all about. It's taken a few years for Aaron Harang to figure it out. I mean, he's had it a few years ago, but he's got it tonight working.
And not going to be in time. If he gloves it cleanly, Harang probably turns it into a 1-6-3 double play. Dusty Baker's going to come out and argue the call down at first anyways. But instead of a double play that wipes out the base runner, there's 2 on, nobody out.
Now, the second time Dusty Baker's been out to talk to Wally Bell. A play earlier he went out to just talk to him about. I think he's going to be a little more emphatic about this one. Not much he could do to change Bell's mind, but it looked like Bell made his mind up before that play actually happened. Take another look at it. Easy double play if you could just grab it, but he closes grips too long, too quickly. I think Bell got it right.
At the least, looked like a tie down at first. But Tyler Green's going to pinch hit for the pitcher Loesch. Kyle Loesch's night is done. 96 pitches on the night for Loesch. He allowed the Reds 7 runs on 9 hits. There are the numbers for Loesch tonight. 7 runs all earned, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts in his 96 pitch effort. The other part of the equation, Chris, we've talked a lot about the injuries the Cardinals have had, and the Reds the same story. The Reds coming into this series somewhat handicapped with the Alex Gonzalez pulled side muscle, and they're going to check him again tomorrow and make a decision probably in the next couple of days whether to put him on the disabled list or not. And then the flu bug that hit and Edwin Encarnacion, but the Cardinals depleted as well, and there's a swing and a miss, 2-2. So you look at their bench. I mean, you got Shane Robinson, Tyler Green, Brian Barton. Jason LaRue is the only bona fide major leaguer that over the period of time has been a regular bench performer. So it's tough when you get to this part of a game that in years past the Cardinals had some pretty good artillery to come off the bench.
Takes away a lot of the weapons that Tony La Russa is used to using.
Ball strike 3, first out of the 7th.
Tyler Green did not like this call.
The 100th pitch for Harang tonight is a dandy. It's a strikeout for Aaron, his 7th strikeout of the night.
He had 9 in his last outing.
And here's Schumacher is 2 for 3, a single and a double. They'll take the out at first. That's all they're going to get. Wise decision by Ramon Hernandez. So the runners go to second and third, 2 away, and here's Colby Rasmus. Alex did baseball-related action today prior to the game. He did not swing a bat. He ran and tossed, and they made try something tomorrow. But as Walt Jocketty told us, Chris, they may very well make a decision in the next day or two. The longest they'll go would be the first half of the road trip to Arizona before they place him on the disabled list.
Remember that the minimum time that you miss when you go on the disabled list is 15 days. And he hasn't played, obviously, in what, 4 or 5 days now. So if they put him on the list tomorrow, he'd probably still miss another 10 days. So at this point, you miss him, but the Reds have won the last couple of games, and they're willing to push it one more day before they have to make a decision. Certainly miss him in the lineup defensively, especially.
1 ball to Rasmus, who's 1 for 3. That's why. And you know who's on deck with 2 on and 2 outs. That's ripped off the shoulder. Will they get it there in time? No. 1 run will score. And the other runner will hold at third. Green scampers home. Thurston will stop at third. It'll go as an error on Hernandez, his first miscue as a first baseman.
Well, a couple of errors in this inning. The miscue by Aaron Harang, which really could have been an easy double play ball, had been able to get to it. That one was a shot hit down there to Ramon Hernandez. He went down to block it like a catcher and just kicked up away from him. So you give the Cardinals 5 outs in an inning, and chances are they're going to do some damage.
So it's now a 7-3 ball game, when the Reds could have easily been out of this inning without any damage at all. And now you've got 2 on, 2 out, and Albert at the plate. Pujols popped up, lined out, struck out. Popped up. Is there going to be room? Hannigan back, and he's got it. Now the Reds have handled Prince Albert in this series to this point, and they're holding on to a 4-run lead as we go to the bottom of 7. Reds.com, where baseball is always on. 7 runs, 9 hits for the Reds. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Cardinals. As we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, there'll be a new pitcher for the Redbirds, a familiar face, and you can't mistake that body. It's Dennis Reyes.
Big sweat. He was with the Reds, George. He's in his 13th year as a major league pitcher, and he's had himself a very nice career. 551 career appearances now for Dennis Reyes.
This hit pretty good by Harrison to left. That's going back. It's going to be gone. Jerry Harrison, second homer of the year, and the Reds have played that on. They got that run back. 8-2 Cincinnati.
Jerry Harrison wastes no time in welcoming Dennis Reyes back to Cincinnati. He spent the last 3 years in the other league. He was with the Minnesota Twins since 2006. Welcome back to the Natty, Denny's.
For Harrison, his second homer, second hit of the night, plus a sacrifice. It's an 8-3 ball game. The Reds have the lead. Here's Bruce. He started it all tonight with a 2-run homer in the first. Schumacher got a glove on it. The throw turned Pujols over, and Bruce will be on.
Well, the inexperience at second base is beginning to show, and I'm wondering how long the Cardinals will. Well, they're going to have to stick with him for a while. They're going to give Albert Pujols an error right there. Not Schumacher. Pujols probably could have had it, but I'm saying that throw pulled him off the bag pretty good.
I mean, Albert will tell you he should have had it, but it's the second baseman that made the bad throw. Well, they're going to give Pujols the miscue, and the Reds have a runner. Still nobody out here in the 7th, and here comes Brandon Phillips. There goes Bruce. There'll be no throw. Reyes didn't even look over at first, and a stolen base for Bruce. Nothing Molina could do, not even a throw. And the Reds have a runner in scoring position. Bruce, his second stolen base of the season. For the Reds in the bullpen, David Weathers has gotten up to start to loosen. Throwing, he's ready. The Reds still with nobody out in the 7th, so no rush for him. So it appears, Chris, that Aaron Harang's night is done. It's been a very busy day for him, christening a field this morning. There's a bouncer. That's going to be knocked down by the shortstop Green. He can't do anything with it. It'll be a base hit for Phillips, first and third.
He was up early this morning. Aaron Harang was on his birthday. Had a lot of things to do today. Celebrate his birthday. Cut the ribbon for the new Miracle Field on the west side. A field that will enable handicapped kids to play baseball. And Aaron Harang wrote a check for more than $55,000 to help that field to its completion. And the guy's got a big heart. He's had a big hand in tonight's ball game.
Add to that his 31st birthday as well. He's been so embraced by the community, and he's embraced the Reds community as well.
Dennis Reyes, he doesn't throw over when a guy's got a 10-foot lead, but when Brandon Phillips gets 6 inches off the bag, he'll go over. Some guys never change.
There's Nix. Lance single to give the Reds a lead back in the 6th inning. First and third, still nobody out. They got him picked. The throw to second will be in time, and the runner at third will hold. This time he gets right, and Phillips gets wrong.
Nice move by Pujols, and you see the key right there. It looks like it got Phillips in the face with that tag, but Pujols, being a right-handed thrower, has to create a throwing lane. He charges hard in there as soon as that ball starts coming to first, but he doesn't wait for the ball to get to him. He charges the ball so he has a better angle to throw it to second.
So infield in now with the runner on third, and Nix at the plate. Way out in front, and that'll take care of Nix. And here comes Tony, the left-handed batter. Nix disposed of with Ramon Hernandez due up next. He'll go back to the bullpen, and while the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio as Jason Mott comes in. Or go to Reds.com. Here's Jason Mott, who will take over. Low 6 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, struck out 4, walked 3. Reyes 2/3 of an inning, gave up a couple of hits and the homer to Harrison. And the runner on third, his responsibility. This young man, Chris, will bring it.
Has not been pitching all that long. He was originally drafted as a catcher. His arm was so good, but his bat was so bad, they decided back in 2006 to change him, put him on a pitching mound. He was one of those who was competing for the closer's job with the Cardinals. Got a fastball that will go anywhere from 93 up to close to 100 miles an hour.
Mott 26, Chris Perez 23 were two that had been regarded as potential closers. Ryan Franklin is the closer right now. There's a bouncer that'll end the inning, but the Reds place him out on a leadoff homer, and Cincinnati leads at 8-3. Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. Well, Aaron Harang's night is done. What a busy day it was for him on his 31st birthday. He christened a brand new field here in Cincinnati, a field that he and his wife Jen donated over $50,000 for. He contributed on the mound tonight with a brilliant effort, allowing only 3 runs on 7 hits in 7 innings. He also got a base hit that knocked in 2, and he'll give way to David Weathers.
7 innings of 7 hit, 2 earned run baseball for Aaron Harang. He punched out 7, walked only 1. David Weathers was in last night's ball game, and he's got a 5-run lead to protect.
Here's Ryan Ludwig as we go to the top of the 8th. Ludwig struck out, homered to tie the game 2-2 in the 3rd, his 8th homer of the year, and then flied out to right. Here's another fly ball to right. Bruce there, he's got it, 1 away. Weathers had been just about perfect up until last night. He struggled in the 8th inning, and he was anxious to get back out there tonight, Chris, and he is.
You know, sometimes, George, you don't get enough work. You do get rusty a little bit, so get him right back out there. For a guy like David Weathers, pitching back-to-back nights of an inning is nothing.
Here's Chris Duncan. Duncan tonight struck out, flied out, and singled. Hit hard, in the air, caught by the shortstop Harrison, 2 away. Can't hit it much harder than that, but right at the shoe tops of Jerry Hairston Jr.
Pretty good swing right there by Chris Duncan, hitting the ball the other way. That ball didn't go but about 2 feet off the ground the entire way. A sizzler.
Jerry looking forward to this road trip. His brother Scott, of course, plays with San Diego. Last year, just before they went out there, he went on the disabled list, never did get to play against them. And they'll meet up when the Reds go to Arizona, then San Diego on the next trip. Down to 3rd, but fouled by Molina. Molina singled in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, and lined into a double play in the 6th. A brilliant catch by Jay Bruce. And then Bruce doubled up Duncan at first for the inning-ending double play. One and 2. $40,651 here at Great American Ballpark tonight. 2nd sellout of the season. That included over 9,000 walk-ups. Nice night for baseball, and Chris, you win a few games and people will come out, huh?
I'll tell you what, this was a perfect night for baseball. Temperature was great. They had a super batting practice that they watched. They watched Albert Pujols bomb the ball into the upper deck, and they're watching the Reds bomb the Cardinals on the field during the real game.
Hairston has it. He cuts in front of Phillips. They joke with each other. That's the kind of inning you expect from David Weathers. A 1-2-3. Bottom of 8 we go.
first base to third. That will be a double play. A diving grab by Jay Bruce. Great jump on it. Lays out, makes a nice catch. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game.
Good night for the Reds tonight. 8 runs, 11 hits, and 2 errors. You see Joey Votto in between Jay Bruce and Bronson Arroyo. Joey did come out, take ground balls today. Swung the bat lightly. They hopefully will get him back in the lineup tomorrow. And both he and Brandon Phillips saying before the game they felt like a dish rag, but they'll hopefully both will be back in the lineup tomorrow after a couple of days battling the flu. Here's Boyer, Blaine Boyer coming in. Changes for the Cardinals, and that is a tag by Pujols. He gets Rosales on the back as he comes across the bag.
Well, the throw is wild, and Adam Rosales, one thing you can count on with him, he will be busting it down the line every time. The question is, did he tag Rosales as he went by? Albert Pujols, that is.
Looked like his foot might have been on the bag before the tag. Take a look. That might have got him. Great play by Pujols. Go one away.
Charlie Bell's had some close ones down there. They've been barking at him all night.
That's the way he likes it.
Yeah, I think he does.
Catching for the Cardinals, Jason LaRue. So LaRue comes into the game in Molina's spot, the 6th spot. And Boyer's in at the 9th spot. There's another reclamation project that Dave Duncan has.
Well, they obtained him from the Atlanta Braves, and they began to really simplify his delivery right from the very first time they saw him pitch. They gave Blaine Boyer a couple of bullpen sessions with Dave Duncan, and they said, all right, a little too complicated, let's simplify things. If you want to pitch out of the stretch, go ahead and do that. That's one of the adjustments that they've made.
Here's the former Red, Jason LaRue, behind the plate. Down to short. Green has it. Hannigan's retired, 2 away.
When it comes to pitching adjustments, it's not Dave Duncan that really does it. It's the bullpen coach down there, which is Marty Mason. He's kind of the technical pitching guy as far as picking up a different arm slot or making a mechanical adjustment to a pitcher. They'll let Marty Mason do most of that stuff, and Dave Duncan concentrates primarily on the approach and the actual game plan that a pitcher should carry out.
Here's Chris Dickerson, who will pinch hit for Weathers in the 9th spot. If you joined us late, the Reds took a lead in the bottom of the first. A double by Taveras, a homer by Jay Bruce, 2-0. Ryan Ludwig followed a double by Schumacher with a home run of his own in the 3rd. We were tied at 2. There's a grounder down to short. The Reds scored 5 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th, and they lead at 8-3. They go quietly here in the 8th. Last roundup time for the Redbirds. Green, Thurston, and the 9th spot. Reds hopeful of leaving it the way it is and coming home a big winner tonight. A win tonight would move Cincinnati to within a game and a half of the Cardinals in the Central and move them to within one game of 500 at home. They're 10-5 on the road, only 6-8 at home. And with a patchwork lineup that Dusty Baker's had to use the last few days, it would be a sweet story for the first two games of this series. Here's Nick Massett, who'll take over. Aaron Harang went 7 innings, allowed 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Weathers an inning, nothing across, and here's Massett.
Now this would be a sweet win for the Reds, no doubt about it. They haven't won 3 in a row in 3 weeks, and it's one of those things where the Cardinals now all of a sudden looking at, you know, they've already dropped 4 of 6. This would be 5 of 7. And that's after they had won 9 of 11. So these teams right now, 2 of them going in different directions. Massett has been good, very good.
Here's Khalil Green. Green tonight bounced to short, lined to third. He hit a rocket that almost took the glove off the hand of Rosales, but he held on. And then he singled to center. Good news for the Cardinals in the last few days is that this guy is starting to swing the bat a little better. He averaged in the 100s at the end of April, and he steps in there in the 230s now. Now at 241 after the base hit tonight. And quickly Massett's behind 3-0. That's a strike. Don't forget, tomorrow Edinson Volquez goes for his 5th win against another outstanding young pitcher, Adam Wainwright. Reds live at 12:30. The game will follow. Got in on him a little. This one skied to left. Nix is there, and there's one away.
That'll be a good pitching matchup tomorrow. Wainwright is throwing the ball extremely well. You know what Edinson Volquez can do. So Mother's Day plans ought to include a trip down to the Great American Ballpark.
So now tonight it was Joey Votto bobblehead night. Tomorrow it's tote bag day. What does Debbie get for Mother's Day?
Bobblehead inside of a tote bag.
I know you better than that. You got something good hidden away. Sky to center. This is a mile in the air by Thurston. 2 away. 2 fly ball outs from Massett. And here's Robinson, who'll come on to pinch hit. Shane Robinson came up Thursday, made his debut as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and grounded out. This big crowd has had a night of fun, and they're hoping to end it on the right note. The Stars tonight begin with Aaron Harang, 7 innings of 7 hit, 3-run, 2 earned run baseball. The offensive Stars, Jay Bruce a 2-run homer, Jerry Hairston Jr. a home run, and another inning of little ball in the 6th when the Reds scored 5. Strike. One of those nights, Chris, a crowd of 40,651. Most of them still nestled in their seats waiting for the end of this one.
I'll tell you what, George, it's nice to see the ballpark filled. It's also nice to feel the excitement of a full house here and a Reds win.
And there's your Reds win.